In this video, we're going to take a look at a cook system from one of the most respected names in outdoor gear, MSR. This is the MSR Windburner 1.8 liter cook system. Coming up on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me. So, a while back I did a video review of the MSR Windburner 1.0 liter cook system. Unfortunately, my truck was broken into in January, window broken, big backpack stolen full of all kinds of wonderful gear, and the Windburner was one of the pieces of gear that was in the backpack. So I was talking to the folks at Cascade Designs, which is basically the parent company for MSR, and they actually have a larger version, 1.8 liter. They were kind enough to send me this one so I could show it to you. So without a whole lot of rambling, let's take you down to the old picnic tabletop and we'll talk about the details of this thing and tell you why I think it is so cool. Okay, so this is the MSR Windburner 1.8 liter cook system. By the way, just like the previous Windburner video, I'm doing this one at a Boy Scout camp out, so we're at a different place, but it's the same bunch of noisy boys, so if you hear that, just chalk it up to experience. But this is the 1.8 liter version, and this is a cook system. It's called a cook system because it is a self-contained, you carry this is all you need to cook most like freeze-dried backpacking meals and things like that. So let's just take a look at it. First of all, on the bottom, you'll notice it's got this plastic cup or bowl. Now inside here, this is the coffee press that is an optional accessory to this, but I consider it essential, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, but because I got another optional accessory to show you that is also really, really cool. But we'll set that aside for a minute and talk about the base system. So the base system, you're going to come with this bowl, which has graduations up to 3 cups on it, so it's you use it for measuring, and then it's got a very nice snap-on lid that actually, and you can put the lid on while you're cooking water in or whatever, it won't melt. It's got a drinking hole and a strainer hole, so you can use for either one of those. Set that aside. Inside, packed up inside, we've got the little legs that go on the bottom of the canister, and we'll talk about those. These are a little different from the ones with the 1 liter. You got your burner assembly, which is really cool. We're going to talk about that. And then inside, we've got these, by the way, are the handles for the French press. We'll put those aside. So there's enough room inside here for a full-size canister. I call this a full-size. It's a pretty big one. I think they make a taller one, but this is a pretty good size one here for a 8.9 ounce or a decent-sized canister, Primus fuel or whatever, the MSR fuel. There's a lot of different kinds. And then there's also a little pad that goes on bottom. You just kind of put this in first. You can use it to clean or whatever, but it keeps from scratching up the interior of this thing. Okay, so let's talk about the components one at a time. So first of all, let's talk about, this is the heat exchanger, and that's one of the things that makes this so efficient because it distributes the heat very, very well from the burner so that you don't just have a hot spot or whatever. It really helps you get a really great overall efficient heating. And then it's also got a cozy around it with a little hand on the side of it, so it gives you something, you don't burn your hand on the thing when you're holding it, but it also helps maintain the heat in here and keep you from losing heat through convection. So it's just altogether it makes a very efficient system. The second part of the system is the burner assembly itself, and this is a really cool burner assembly. It's got a little valve here. It's manual, so you light it. One of the things I really like about this is when you light it, even though it may be hard to see, it's got a little indicator wire that goes across that glows red to let you know the thing is burning. So even if you can't see the flame because of light or whatever, you can definitely see that little red wire there. And then it's just got a valve here that unfolds and it turns off. It's got a little area here, kind of plastic, that you can hold it to secure it so that you don't burn your hands. And another thing that's really good is once you've got this thing set up, it locks in place. And just a slight twist. It's just enough to where it stays in place and you can unlock it and pull it off. So let's talk about how you operate this thing now, because it's just a stove, right? But it's a very efficient stove. So obviously the bigger of a canister you got, the more stable it's going to be. But the way these little legs work is they'll work on a small canister to a large canister because they're elastic rubber inside here, which is pretty unique. The other one had little clips on it that would function on 2 different sizes. This one will work on pretty much any size. I can tell you it's a little bit of a trick to get it on there. So here's what I did this morning. I just hooked these 2 on, stretch this one out, and then just kind of put them around till they're even, basically however you want them. So what that does, that gives you a really wide, stable platform here that's going to keep this thing from tipping over. And you can also, if it's not level, you can prop one leg up or something to make it level, which is what I did again this morning. But then you just screw your stove on top, make sure the valve's turned off, and once it's screwed on tightly, then Next step is going to be to light it. So just turn this thing on. You can hear it hissing. Okay, so once you got it lit, you can see, you really can't see the flame there, but you can look and you can see, I think you can see that little red indicator wire lets you know it's on, which I think is just a really great idea. I don't know why some other people haven't thought of that. So let's talk about the specs for just a minute. The volume of this, of course, is 1.8 liter maximum volume. The weight on this one without the gas canister is 1 pound and 3 ounces, or 538 grams. They say it takes 4.5 minutes to boil a liter of water. I can tell you, I boiled 32 ounces of water this morning in about 3 ounces to an absolute rolling boil. One of the big advantages of this stove is they call it a wind burner because it is absolutely almost impervious to wind. It's got a radiant burner, so it's not just a big flame. This whole thing gets hot here, and all the wires help radiate heat. So even though the flame does burn, and the flame has, the higher the flame, the more heat, it also creates radiant. It's got a grid in there and these grills, so it's more like a it functions more almost like a heating element as much as it does a flame. And it's got the enclosed windproof design, so all these things just, it really, once you click this on there, it really, it's real difficult for the wind to have any effect on this thing. So if you're in windy conditions, it works just fine. A lot of stoves do not. That's the stove. Let's talk about the accessories that I think are really cool. So first of all, I'm a coffee drinker, and this little coffee press thing, and I'm not sure about I'll put the links to this stuff below. You have to check the prices yourself. I'm not really sure exactly how much they cost, but bottom line, what you do is, there's a hole in the lid that you put this through first, like so. You screw your coffee press on with the cup portion kind of upward, like so. Okay, you fill this up with water. You put your how much coffee you want to make it strong in there, and just put the lid on. Leave this up top, and then you sit it on there and you light it and you boil it. And I would show you that, but I left my coffee at home. I'm having to use instant coffee, so. Man, what a bummer. But once you get it boiling, then you take it off. You let your coffee steep for about 5 minutes, or however strong you like it. Just kind of a trial and error thing. Once you get it figured out, you'll know what to do. And then you slowly push this down. And what that does is, if you can see, it actually squeezes the coffee down to the bottom, because this screen is very, very fine in there. And it squeezes all the grounds to the bottom, and you're left with coffee, liquid coffee at the top, and you just pour it out the spout into your cup, or you can drink it out of here if you want to. Either way, so you really don't have to have a second cup. But then when you finish, you just pull this out, and all your grounds will be in the bottom. You rinse it out, and you're good to go. So that's the coffee press. In my opinion, this is an absolutely essential accessory to this kit. Just absolutely great. So the next accessory they sent me was the Windburner Skillet. And I got to tell you, I cooked bacon and eggs in this. It does a great job. It is a non-stick. This thing weighs just 8.5 ounces, or 240 grams. It is a 8-inch skillet, or 20 centimeters, and it's 2 3/4 inches high, or about 7 centimeters high. It's non-stick. It has a really nice handle system that goes on, basically, and this is, you just kind of clip it on here like so. I'm trying to do this on camera, so bear with me. Clip it on here like so, and just clip it down, it locks in. You want to take it off, you just push the little red button there, clip it back up. But I like the fact it doesn't have a flip up like some of the handles. It does a really good job. So, and it also has this little ring, not really a heat exchanger, but it definitely keeps it centered up, and it does kind of help exchange the heat. I can tell you, it sits right on there like that. It does a great job. I can tell you this thing cooks really evenly. There didn't seem to be a lot of hot spots in it or whatever as I was cooking bacon and eggs. Did a great job. Really easy to clean up. It's got kind of a insulated handle here, so the handle doesn't get really hot. And with the fact that it's got this ring that keeps it in place, in my opinion, that just really helps in a camping situation, because it's really easy to tip a pan over, and that kind of gives you something to lock it in. You combine that with the feet, and provided a very stable cooking platform, even for scrambling eggs in the pan, which is going to be, you put a little bit of, sometimes you put a little movement on the pan when you do that. That's the Windburner Skillet. Just in my opinion, this may not be an essential accessory, but it is a very helpful accessory. And if you do a lot of camping, you're going to want a pan to cook in. It really extends the versatility and the functionality of this Windburner system, because this Kind of gives you the basic backpacking type foods. You can cook all the freeze-dried stuff. You can cook oatmeal, you can cook soup, you can boil water for coffee, you can do all that stuff in here. But if you want to cook real food, you know, bacon and eggs or anything that you're going to cook in a pan, it gives you the opportunity to cook, you know, real food, for lack of a better term. So altogether, this makes a really good system, in my opinion. Okay, that's the MSR Windburner 1.8 liter cook system, and I think this is a really great system from MSR. So once again, thanks to the folks at Cascade Designs and MSR for sending me this so I can show it to you. As always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing. I put out a new video every Friday, Saturday, usually Sunday, and sometimes random throughout the week. If you subscribe, you'll be notified whenever there's a new video to check out. And also, thank you so much for supporting this channel by doing all your Amazon shopping through the Survival on Purpose links. There'll be links to these down below, and there's just a general Amazon link, which is survivalonpurpose.com/Amazon. It helps support the channel, and I really appreciate it. Also, if you like audiobooks, you can get a free 1-month trial to Audible, which also helps support the channel. There'll be links to this stuff in the description below. It really helps the channel, helps me keep these videos on the air, and I really appreciate your support. So once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. And I'll see you next time. Man, you know, boats are getting noisier and noisier. Get down to the old picnic top table here. Man, oh man, what a noisy boat. I just hooked these two on and stretched this one out. You know, you'd think if a boat was that noisy, it'd be moving faster than that.